I'm Laura. I'm 32. From Switzerland originally, and I live here in the Netherlands since almost 6 years. And the reason I moved here was because of this project here about the urban farm.
Okay.
I started this with 4 other friends that we met at university. It was more food studies. It's called gastronomic sciences in Italy. And you study, we had some courses about agriculture, but it was also much more broad in the sense of how landscapes interact with agriculture, how they shape cultures, how it all is kind of connected, and through the lens of food. So we did a lot of biology as well, and biochemistry, and we had classes of botany and ethnobotany. So it's not necessarily agriculture only, but it's still connected. Here, the farm itself, it was already a CSA. It was much smaller. So now we have 200 members. Back then they had like, the guy who started it had like 35 or 40.
Okay.
We had a lot of weeds here, perennial weeds that I think the first year we worked for free and we spent days in a row weeding. Like it took us a whole day to weed one bed. We were just really like taking roots, like these really long roots out, and just the soil itself, it was quite compacted, and we had, kind of like the state of the soil and of the weeds. That was a challenge. Those weeds that we had in the beginning, they're not the same weeds anymore.
Okay.
We have different weeds now. They're annuals. They're a bit easier to handle, but they also make seeds much faster. So we have different weeds. We always have weeds, and we try not to be too crazy about it. It's a struggle still, and if someone can teach us exactly what's the best way to go about the weeds. I think it's like working out, like you just have to do it every day. It's not so profitable, but we can pay ourselves a salary. That is a decent, it's an okay salary, but it's not very good for the Netherlands. You can increase the business if you are a smart business person and that's your goal, because you can buy in and resell things. It's a beautiful space that some people would like to maybe use for their events. So that's maybe something to explore if we want to make it more profitable. You have to kind of diversify as a small farm like we are. But in how we see it also, or how I see it, it's that it's not the ultimate goal. Like many people ask me, oh, can you scale this? Can you grow bigger? Can you grow more? Can you make more profit? And then I'm like, I can of course squeeze it more and push it more, but you also have to find the balance between your life quality, your work-life balance. And growing profit is not always the goal.
Right. Did you try mulch?
Yeah.
So how was
it? It works, it helps, but we can only really use it in this time of the year, because before, mulching more will attract more slugs. Because you mulch, you suppress weed if you mulch enough, but you have to mulch a lot. And then under there you make the perfect house for slugs. So in spring, when the plants are small, it's not working.
Does this hedges really help you?
Well, they have pros and cons, to be honest. When we planted them, we obviously only thought about the good things. We planted them like 4 years ago. So the trees, they grow a lot. And the main purpose of it is slowing down the wind. And that really helps. But it also only really helps when there's leaves on the trees. So in winter it has less protection. It is definitely a habitat for diversity, for different insects. We have different flowering trees, different seasons with the flowers, also some berries, and we don't really harvest them much.
Is this a mix of trees?
Yeah. It's about 30 different kinds. But also in some places it makes a lot of shade onto our beds. So there we have again the problems with the slugs, and also just vegetables like a bit more sun and not so much shade. So we have to find out what we're going to do about it.
What are the types of crops you grow here?
All sorts. Name it, we have it. Now it's mostly vegetables. Then we have, as I said, a few berry shrubs in the hedge, and also over there we have a bit. And the berries we have are strawberries. That season is over now, unfortunately, but every year we have more strawberries because we propagate them, and that's a nice thing because we can give it to the restaurants or sell it to the restaurants, but also for the members, they love it.
Okay.
But
so that is the only fruit.
Then we have some fruit trees in the hedge, but since it's very densely planted, they don't get so much light. So that's also something we could do by trimming them a lot, like give the fruit trees much more space and light.
Yeah.
So we will have some apples, some plums. The cherries usually are eaten by the birds, so we don't have much of those. Some pears, but that's kind of a side thing. It's not for selling. What we sell are the herbs, the vegetables mostly, and then we have some flowers and edible flowers and herbs. And that's nice for restaurants. We deliver to a few restaurants. They like that, and it's special, and you don't get it easily. Yeah.
Okay, so what are the types of inputs you are giving to the plants?
It's mostly compost. We have green cuttings compost that we buy. It's like the kind of black looking.
Initially when preparing the bed, or through the growth period?
That's initially when preparing the bed.
Okay.
If we know it is a hungry plant like cabbages or broccoli, we add also our homemade compost.
Okay.
Or some decomposed pony shit.
Okay.
There's some pony place close by, and we can just pick it up for free. I mean, we usually have someone with a tractor do it because we want a lot.
Okay.
So we use that. So the animal manure and the homemade compost, it has just a lot more nutrients, much more vegetable scraps. Sometimes also some chicken manure in there. Yeah, we try compost tea, but when we have time. Yeah.
So how about the pest attacks?
Yeah, we don't have we have maybe two major ones. One is slugs, again. It's so wet here, and I mean now you don't say because it's sunny and dry, but most of the year it's wet, and slugs really like wet stuff. So they eat a lot of our small seedlings in spring. This year was terrible.
How do you control them?
Yeah, we try to collect them every morning with a bucket.
Oh, that's very difficult, right? Manually going in.
Yeah, I mean it's also just a lot of time, and then you have a bucket full of slugs, and it's really disgusting. We kind of put the lid on it, and then we let them die slowly. We also have some organic kind of iron-based slug pellets. They eat that and then they die.
Okay.
But I don't like to use it so much. Like we use it a bit, and sometimes, but if we have so many slugs, it doesn't even help. Like it seems like they just cruise around it and go straight to the carrot or the broccoli or whatever. Yeah, and it's a lot of weed management, not making them have enough habitat.
Yeah.
On one hand, we want diversity, we want mulch, we want green everywhere. We want plants as much as possible. But when you create these places with green and mulch and flowers and grass and, you know, the hedge and just a bit more wild places, this is also where lots of slugs live.
Yeah.
Because you want more life in your garden, and also other things than slugs live there, like frogs and salamanders and ants and spiders and all these things. It's good to have a balance in the garden, but when the slugs take over, you kind of, you want to have these nice kind of wild places, but also not too much. So we do have hares, a lot of wild hares here.
Okay.
And they come in spring and in late fall, and they nibble on things. And that's
only on the leaves or carrot like?
They like beetroots a lot, they like radicchio a lot.
Okay.
They like some other like cabbages, beans also, the bush beans, the low beans. And I mean, the remedy is quite easy. You can just cover it with a cover, and then they're not so smart to go under it.
Okay.
So it's just a physical barrier that helps. So they don't really bother me so much.
Okay.
And then we have
not any minor bugs, flies?
Yeah, there is for certain crops, like the carrot has the carrot fly, the leek has the how is it called? The garlic miner. I think it's called a miner.
It's also an insect?
It's also an insect, yeah. And yeah, there's for certain crops there's certain pests, and they come at certain times, and that's also just a sign of maybe an imbalance more than. Like certain things you can just cover them, and if you cover them at the right time, there's no problem. Also for the cabbage, there's the cabbage caterpillars, and there's some, and I can cover it really well. And sometimes the butterfly still goes under and lays the eggs, and what you can do then is spray BT.
Okay.
It's a bacterium that makes the caterpillar have diarrhea, and then they die. But it doesn't really harm any other insects, so that's a good thing. But we use it like maybe once a year. I used it once now, or maybe I spray. And then you just have to check a lot, and if there's more, than one or two that you can maybe just squeeze by hand, you spray.
Okay.
Besides that, like aphids sometimes, but it's more a sign of too much nutrients than anything else. So it tells you something.
As a preventive measure, you don't spray any pest repellents?
No, let me think. No, it's mostly management. Like also for the tomatoes, for example, you can do a lot with management of the greenhouse, like the airflow. Like they have much more like problems with fungus. And now at this time of the year, it's just much more humid. It's like, in the morning it's very humid outside and the grass. Yeah. So these things, you cannot do much about it. You just know their time has passed and they have to go. And they're kind of past their peak. And it's nice to observe it this way and maybe also realize what does well in this climate, and some things maybe just don't do so well.
And you have to remove it.
You have to be selective, and it's sad, but it's also something you accept. You're like, okay, that doesn't really want to grow here, so I learned to eat other things.
So are the members cooperative of this farm conditions? Yeah. They understand these things?
I mean, they don't understand, but we'll tell them and then they understand. Okay. We send them a newsletter every week when we tell them how.
So you document all these things and put it in the newsletter?
I mean, not very scientifically, but we tell them what's going on, and they like to be informed. And they give a lot of understanding also.
So you do that newsletter once in a week or once in a month?
Once a week.
Oh.
And it also goes with the information, what is in the boxes, maybe with some recipes. So it's just
these tunnels, only tomatoes and eggplants grow there, or?
In summer, we have tomato, eggplant, cucumber.
Okay.
That grow in the greenhouse. Mostly, then there's a few other crops, but mostly these three. But we also grow something in spring and something in fall. Okay. Because the eggplant, tomato, cucumber season is, let's say, 2.5 months. Okay. But we start seeding in there from February. Because it's also very cold still in spring, so it's nice to have something ready in the greenhouse early on, till the things in the field are ready. Okay. And then the same in fall, that you can just extend, like when everything is kind of done outside and nothing grows anymore, the greenhouse still has things. It kind of extends 1 month earlier, 1 month later. Yeah.
So you have a 6-month delivery time?
7.
7 months.
7. Yeah. Well, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Yeah, 7.
So during winter, you don't supply any vegetables?
We have a little bit.
Okay.
But not 200 shares. Like in summer and during the main season, we have 200 boxes that we make every week. In winter, we do maybe 30. And we do it every other week because it's very annoying to harvest, to wash in the really cold water. It's like not nice. Okay. So we do it only every 2 weeks.
Very difficult.
And then we make them a bigger box that they can go for 2 weeks, or like maybe not 2 weeks is necessarily entirely. And there's sometimes we put in some things that we buy also, like some carrots, some onions, some potatoes, because we also grow carrots, but no onions and potatoes, only spring onions. Okay. And then if we don't have any carrots left in the field or in the storage, then we can also sometimes buy from a befriended farmer that does much more carrots and does it still in a really nice way. But like a few people we can still deliver to. Okay. But it's very